Greetings and welcome to Hall of Fame, Hall of Game. This is our third podcast in which Amy Alexandra, Patrick Walsh, and Keith Robinson discuss what games should be forever immortalized for all posterity in the Hall of Fame of Game. It's a YouTube channel, so you can look back and see what we've previously put in. Perhaps these games are rated something. The first one is our best related games ever. Maybe not. Now, in previous episodes, Amy has tried to think up of some elaborate new scheme for which one of us goes first each. I, however, have thought of one. We'll go alphabetically. First name.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that will be in current name. How about the last name?
Oh.
Wow.
I was gonna say I love going alphabetically because I always go last. And...
Wowzers. I feel attacked. I mean, I was just going to let Parry go first because he hasn't been first yet, but whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. We'll do that next week. Because apparently I'm going first again. 2 weeks running. There's a link to a Google Doc in the description below the video where you click on it and you can see the exponentially growing list. Just in case you don't want to go back through all the videos, although why wouldn't you? You could just see. And it has episode numbers and who's inducted them and everything. Because Keith thought he thought of everything by doing that intro. But he hadn't. So I guess I've got to do a thing. I'm not going to do what you do, Keith. I'm never going to stoop to your level of telling a grand story of like, the year was 19... Like, no. That's not
The temperature was 19 degrees.
One day, I'm going to look up like all of the historical data that's available for the release day of a game.
The ambient humidity.
Notable deaths.
Stephen's Day.
It was a sunny day in Greece in 50, 50 BC.
Jesus Christ, they had video games in ancient Greece. Enough stalling. My pick, my third ever pick, as everybody, you guys definitely, hopefully, will remember, I'm doing like this yo-yo thing where I'm going backwards and forwards between a modern-ish game and an older game, and it's modern-ish game time. So, with that being said, and all the thought I've put into this, I'm gonna put Titanfall 2 in the Hall of Fame because I look back on all the first-person shooters I've played in this generation, and you know which one I was best at? Overwatch, but
Yeah.
I currently hate that game at the moment because it's really annoying. But then instead of the game I was second best at
Titanfall?
was Titanfall, but the only game I was third best at, Titanfall 2. I'm not as good at Titanfall 2 as Keith. He was the best Titanfall 2 player in the world.
I'm really glad I'm going second because it's entirely possible with this choice of yours that I could have both my choices taken away from me.
No, I fucking love Titanfall 2, man. Like I love the whole Titanfall series, but I decided to pick 2 over 1 because 2 has the single player campaign.
Oh, yes, it does.
The single player campaign in Titanfall 2 is way better than it should have been. Like, do you remember when before it came out? Because this is the first game I think I've ever nominated on this where we're like, no, it's not because I did God of War, but it's like, this is a game where we were doing podcasts in the run-up to, and we were talking about Titanfall, and I was like, oh man, I don't want them to just tack on a single-player campaign when they could make the multiplayer more awesome. And I ate those words.
You ate them hard.
I ate those words. Yeah, because that campaign...
I'm just thinking the multiplayer was excellent, and the campaign was amazing.
Yeah, the campaign was amazing. The multiplayer was exceptional. Like, I've loved Titanfall. The first time I ever played Titanfall was at EGX. I think it was the first year I ever went. It was the game in EGX that had the longest queue. Like, and me and Russ both went for the very first time to EGX. Didn't know like almost the etiquette of like how you're supposed to queue for these things. Like, if there's a game and it's super popular, that's the one you got to see first. because you don't want to be standing in a queue for 2.5 hours. Me and Russ stood in a queue for 2.5 hours to play Titanfall. And then when we got through and we played the game, and everybody was like, I'm going to get in these mechs. Yeah, I got my mech on my Titan as quickly as possible and stomp around and shoot. And I was just like quite happy to run around and jump on Titans and rodeo and shoot them. I basically got the MVP for the match in my first ever game of Titanfall. And Russell went back 3 more times because he couldn't stand the fact that I did better than him. They gave me a special patch and everything because I was the best. And then it came out and I was still pretty good at it. I wasn't the best anymore because Keith plays. It's like, go on.
I mean, all I did was like load it up for a charity stream, play through the campaign, and then Amy came down and saw me play the multiplayer, and she has decided I'm the world's best player at Titanfall.
Consistently, at this point, there's not that many people playing it, and you were consistently at the top of the leaderboard. And you'd had about as much sleep as I'd had, which is not very much, if any. And you were still like completely destroying it. But no, man, like the way the multiplayer works in Titanfall 2, like it's like fast paced, which is exactly my kind of thing. But like, I never feel like if I'm playing COD, for example, like any COD, like I always feel like respawn, take 3 steps. Oh shit, I got shot and died. Like in Titanfall 2, like sometimes that happens. Like, I've respawned in this giant mech with a chain gun that shoots bullets bigger than my character is like already looking at me, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna die. Like, yeah. I'm gonna die in this situation. But I never felt like cheap when I was dying. Plus, you could equip perk and a submachine gun. That meant I could just infinitely sprint around and never have to aim down the sights. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. I was a bastard to hit, though. Especially with the sliding mechanic. I just really want Titanfall 3.
Yeah, I am looking forward to the end of this year when we're getting this, like,
I wish you'd
Titanfall.
stop because you're doing it. You'd just be facetious.
Yeah.
I mean,
I really want Titanfall 3, but I also know that they've been working on other stuff lately.
Yeah. But to be fair, they announced and released Apex Legends on the same day, so you never know. Maybe they'll announce and release Titanfall something at the Game Awards, at the State of Play that we're all foregoing to be here to record this episode.
It would come off, and it would just say Titanfall thing. It would be a wonderful piece of, like, you know.
I know what I'll be doing tonight. I love it. A campaign, fantastic. Like BT, like, yeah. Spoilers? But yeah, no, fun. Like, you build a bond with a giant mech, like, in the game. Like, which is nuts to me. Like, from playing the first Titanfall, where the Titans were just tools and vehicles.
Yeah.
Things that stomped on me and punched me out of midair. Like, and then you got the second one, you got BT. And the thing from the trailer where it's like 3 rules of being trust me, and then he just throws you across the the ravine. Like, yeah,
he throws you across a canyon to like run across like hanging bits of metal in the air off cranes to land on a platform. Okay.
Like, yeah, and he's just like, you fall off the thing and he catches you, and you teach him how to do a thumbs up, like in Terminator 2.
Then there was that whole weird, like, minor spoiler thing where you're giving it like a device which sits on the back of your hand partway through the campaign, and just like, hang on a second, I'm back in the past.
Time travel. The time travel level was so cleverly designed.
It is so amazing.
Like there's a bit where you've got to run, where you've got to wall run and jump between the walls, but every time you jump, you have to like skip through time. Like, I found out how they did that. There was a thing, I don't know what it was I was watching, but it was a thing where it's 2 levels. Might have been when I was watching them speedrun it, which is just great, by the way. They did a SGDQ speedrun of Titanfall 2. It's fantastic. If you like Titanfall 2, you should watch it. But it's 2 levels, and you just teleport between the 2 different levels, and they're like on top of each other, which I thought That was really clever. But that's my pick. I'm inducting Titanfall 2 into the Words About Games Hall of Fame with my third pick.
Yeah.
And it's probably good I went first because I didn't have a backup, and it sounds like Keith was gonna was going there. So are we going alphabetically? I guess it's Keith.
Yes.
That's weird. So hang on. Oh, I need to pause the podcast here just to point out that all three of us, whether it was first names or last names, all three of us were going in the same order no matter what.
Yes.
Nice.
I was
That's
thinking
cool.
that after I said it.
That's cool, man.
Now Patrick was wondering if I purposely put him last.
It's okay, Patrick. I was going to put you first.
I don't mind. I mean, I mind a little. I'd rather not go first because I get scared.
Although if Keith wants to host this podcast, he can. That's fine.
Right then.
That's fine.
It's fine. Come on, Keith.
Let
Take
me
us on a
take you on a
journey.
journey.
I'm listening.
It's autumn, not just now, but in the past. It's 9 years ago, to be precise. Almost, depending on what continent you're on, to the day that this was recorded. And we get a game set in the past, present, and future. A wonderful game designed by someone called Sid Meier's. It is about civilization. And it's the 5th version of that game. I want to put Sid Meier's version 5, Civilization version 5, into the Hall of Fame. Because I think it's the best Civilization. I have 6 installed. I haven't played it for a while. But I have played, I think it's 4, 5, and 6. And I definitely think 5 is the best version of the Civ games. Definitely better than that Alpha Centauri one he did. But,
people are going to come for you.
Oh, why
Yes.
did you? We were so close to having a podcast where people weren't going to shout at us.
I just think out of all of the Sid Meier's games, it is the best.
Simply
It is a wonderful like version of you building up like these different like civilizations. I specifically think like after the Gods and Kings expansion, you had trade routes, you had faith, you had these like new leaders like Boudica who were based on like the whole idea of like religion. So all these like things with trade and religion and like the technologies and this like the civ the societal like implementation things you could do. It built up the game to be so much more than I'm going to basically be, I'm going to be Cleopatra and I'm going to conquer the world. It made it much bigger than that. It was like, I will not conquer the world, but I will spread my faith across the entire planet so that we are all one people under one religion. Or I am going to win by breaking the culture, which encompasses the entire planet. So everyone's basically wearing blue jeans and white t-shirts, as an example.
like the Ori.
Pretty much. Well,
yeah.
It's
kind of hard to win civilization in a way that isn't kind of hella imperialistic.
This is the thing. I normally either go for like civilization or science victories. Normally culture.
Right, so your culture is the dominant one on the planet, and all other cultures have been erased. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hallowed.
But they still have to elect all of their own officials and stuff. It's not like I've converted them all or killed anyone that I don't agree with. But yeah, I love that about the game where it's like you don't just have to wipe out all of the countries, or you can like have these little like
you kind of do
city states. You can like have these city states which you're friends with. You can have allies that are with you like for the entire game. Sometimes that's very difficult because they'll knowingly declare a surprise war on you.
Surprise war!
In Civ 6, if you play as Canada, no one can declare surprise wars on you.
I know. That's the only... There's only 2 leaders in Civ 6 I haven't completed the game with, and Canada is one of them. The other one's the one where you just start in the ocean.
Yeah, Canada is rubbish. That's the problem, is that they start in the tundra. And all their bonuses are based around improving the tundra. The problem being that tundra is rubbish because it's the tundra.
But anyway, to go back to Civ 5, I think it's the best visually looking of the two, the three, Civ 4, 5, and 6. I think that they had a really well balanced and beautifully crafted game. The DLCs were brilliant. I did get them. The music was brilliant. I sunk so much time into Civ 5. I'm just going to do a quick comparison there. Civ 5 I played for 907, which is about 220 hours more than I played on Civ 6.
Yeah, well, I thought I had a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, like the most time I've got on any single game on Steam is about 110 hours.
I will put my hand on heart and say I probably played more than that on WoW over quite a few years. But Civ 5 is a game I loved. The Civ games are games I love so much. I would sit and listen to comedy programs or watch the TV while playing these games. And it was just a wonderful way for me to relax and unwind. And they have a great thing in my heart for that. I'll just be sitting there listening to the Goon Show or the Navy Lark or Round the Horn, relaxing after a day at work, just like building up these cities, trying to persuade people not to invade me.
We played multiplayer once.
Yes, we did.
Me and Russ ended up being like dominant superpowers. We had a Cold War. In fact, we kind of emulated the timeline of the Soviet Union versus the United States. Where it was like, I don't think either one of us ever really wanted to kill each other, but we both thought the other person did.
Yeah, I was kind of the UK in that. I was just sitting off to one side.
And to be fair, like before our Cold War, I did wipe out Germany.
So a lot like the actual Cold
War.
Yeah.
I feel like you put me and you put me and Russell and Keith in a game of Civilization, and we somehow managed to like do the history of the actual world. Because I'm pretty sure I was America in that game.
George Washington. Russell wasn't.
Russell was Japan.
Ramesses II.
And he was just in a corner, like.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad you were between me and Russell, to be honest. He does play to conquer every other nation on the globe.
He played a sci-fi game once where it was like he played robots. And we were talking about it on a very early podcast. And the whole thing was like when he wanted to move a planet, if he ever wanted to like leave a planet, you could just eject the entire population of the planet into space.
He aggressively colonized another planet in your solar system, which you couldn't get out in time, and you called him out on it. And he said, "Okay, I'll take the stuff back. That's a really like a move or whatever." And he recycled all of his robotic citizens. I.e., killed them.
Yeah, we didn't get on well after that in the game.
Anyway, I think that like harrowing tale of Russell's gameplay in Galactic Empires or whatever it was,
Space Empires 5.
Space Empires 5 will bring us nicely to Patrick.
Yeah, I had to delete Civ 6 because it was becoming a problem where that would be what I would do for 7 hours straight. And oh god, it's 6 in the morning. So it was actually not conducive to good mental health, so that's why I had to stop. This is a problem.
There is a skit of Angry Joe just like at a computer, just going, just one more turn, pretending to sleep like it's cocaine. It can be very addictive.
It's funny how like normally I'm like the massive lefty hippie and want everyone to cooperate, and as soon as I play Civ, it's like, no, you will live in my autocratic dystopia. It's like, oh shit, Congo's invaded me, right? I'll take 6 of their cities and raise the rest. What do you mean I'm the bad guy? They attacked me. Which
sounds like how you played Fire Emblem, to be fair.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I've learned from Fire Emblem and Game of Thrones is that I am far too willing to defend fascism when it's fronted by a silver-haired princess on a dragon. It's like, I think I might have a problem.
I just got a text off you. Remember we were talking about it, and all of a sudden it was just, are we the baddies? Yes, Patrick.
No, Spoilers for Free Houses. This is a problem I had on the Black Eagles route where after time skip, I was like, "Are we the baddies?"
And are we the baddies just knitting a skull and crossbones?
So, what's your pick there, old Patrick? Old Patrick, don't know why I said that. What's your pick there?
I'm going to pick a game that is both 26 years old and which came out last week.
I love the video game industry.
And it came out last week is more or less exactly the same, but it's so cute. I could sit here and try to put every Zelda game off the list, but I'm going to go with Link's Awakening because it just came out, and because it was the first Zelda game that I played.
Awesome.
And it came out originally on the Game Boy, like the old black and white 8-bit Game Boy in like 1993, and it's an odd little thing because it sort of leans into the technical limitations of the Game Boy, in that it couldn't be this big epic adventure like you could do on the SNES at the time. So it kind of had to have a bit more personality. So it's kind of deliberately strange. Have either of you played
Link's Awakening? No, I haven't played it.
Right. Well, I probably shouldn't spoil it then. Probably shouldn't spoil the 26-year-old game which came out last
I think you're okay.
Yeah.
Because it's the premise is that Link, or the hero, whatever you want to name him, washes up ashore on a desert island after his boat sinks, and he has to try to escape the island. And the way to do that is by waking up the local god, who's called the Windfish. And the people of the island are sort of deliberately kind of a bit off. Like the developers admitted that they were very influenced by Twin Peaks.
Awesome.
So
sold.
Everyone's sort of a bit like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing here?" It's like there's like a telephone system. There's an entire island full of like little fuzzy animals that talk to you. There's like a bear who's a chef and a walrus, and Will Wright has a cameo in it. Technically, because there's a character called Mr. Wright who writes letters, who is based on the Mr. Wright who was in the SNES version of SimCity.
So Will Wright, wow, okay.
Yeah, so it is. It is actually technically Will Wright who's in the game, and it sorts off kind of like strange and deliberately dreamlike, and then goes to a sort of more melancholic place when like it reveals the nature of what's going on, like what the island actually is, in a way that sort of, I can't really go into specifics without giving away the big twist, but it made me think about the nature of reality at the age of...
Double sold.
I must have been like 9 or 10. With this sort of limited, 8-bit localization, which funny enough is more or less intact in the Switch version, because it still works. Going back and playing through it, the Switch version is very, very, like, to the point that because I know the game so well, I went through it in like 2 days. And it's just sort of rely on sort of like moon logic puzzles to pad it out a bit. Like there's one moment in the dungeon where you have to defeat 3 enemies in a specific order, and the only hint is like a tablet in another room. So there's a little bit of sort of like Monkey Island strangeness going on there. But otherwise it's a very well constructed, it's sort of like the first Zelda game with like a lot of personality in a way that would sort of come back to it in Majora's Mask and its notorious creepiness.
Triple Salt, that's my favorite Zelda game.
It's like it's kind of hard, I think, to recommend a £50 Switch game, but if you haven't played Link's Awakening, I definitely think it's worth looking into, because it's aged really well. Even the Game Boy game is like still, perfectly feasible, perfectly playable. It's got a gorgeous soundtrack. It's got lovely, wonderful characters, and the ending will completely break your heart. So,
yay!
Yay!
As we think we've already proven, that is something that we love on this channel. Game that will emotionally.
Oh, yeah. I've got some future picks locked and loaded.
Oh, So have I.
Uh,
They're probably the same game. Was one of the things.
probably are. Cool. I'd made my peace with like holding off on Link's Awakening and playing it like over the Christmas break, and now I'm like, did I make the wrong choice?
No, you can leave it till after the Christmas break. I'm just
but you
worried that
sold
with,
it, Ollie.
I'm just worried that with the current hot takes, like if you've somehow managed to avoid without having the twist getting spoiled or without being able to figure it out, I kind of think it's avoidable.
I've definitely.
It's hard not to talk about it.
I've avoided the twist. Like, I don't know what the twist is. I don't know anything about Link's Awakening.
It's
apart from what you just told me.
It's something that I brought up in my writing group once to explain a particularly detested trope, but again, I can't talk about it without talking about what it is. So
I'm gonna have to go and try and find myself a copy of Link's Awakening. That's awesome.
If you've got a 3DS, it's like £5.
I don't.
For the DX version.
I have all the current generation and nothing else except the PS2 upstairs in the loft.
Oh. Well, then you're screwed. Just hope for a Christmas sale, I suppose.
I'll just rent it.
Pay that Nintendo tax. £50 for a 20-year-old Game Boy game.
Tell me about the Nintendo tax.
Yeah.
Boo.
Well then, I think that is us for another episode. We've got 3 new games in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure Amy will be overjoyed to find 3 new images to pick to encapsulate our choices. I think 2 of them would be really easy. One of them might be slightly more difficult than the other.
Not really.
Not really. You just have Gandhi behind a nuclear
the Gandhi. There's probably an image that already exists.
Many.
Of nuclear Gandhi, I'm sure I'll find.
Just type in nuclear Gandhi.
5 one, not the Civ 6 one.
There'll just be a picture of Russell standing in front of a map and just says global domination.
Gandhi's not in Civ 6, is he?
Yes, he is. He's in every version of. They could hardly not put him in.
There's a second Indian leader, isn't there?
They added Chandragupta, alternate and Ryzen 4.
Yeah. So, getting slightly back in the point and not nerding out with Patrick about Civ. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much to Roblod, aka Amy Alexandra, Patrick Watts, and myself, Faye Ward, Keith Robinson. Hope to see you next time for another wonderful, positive celebration of gaming. Bye.
Bye.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
Can we stop saying goodbye yet?
Yeah.
Okay. The hell happened to Patrick?